something strange happens when you start paying attention. Patterns emerge. Conversations feel eerily familiar. Events seem to loop as if life itself is running on a script. You may have brushed it off as déjà vu, but what if there's something deeper at play? A hidden mechanism governing your thoughts, emotions, and actions, one designed to keep you trapped. The world isn't what it seems. Beneath the surface of daily life lies a structure, a repeating cycle that most people never recognize. You wake up, repeat the same routines, think the same thoughts, react in the same ways, and call it free will. But here's the truth. What you call choice might just be an illusion, carefully programmed by forces you were never meant to see. Gurdjieff, a man whose teachings shook the very foundation of human perception, warned about this centuries ago. His insights weren't just philosophical, they were dangerous. So dangerous that even intelligence agencies took notice. But what exactly did he uncover? And why were his revelations so threatening that the system had to bury them? It all starts with one simple question. Are you truly awake? Throughout history, there have been individuals who saw reality differently. People who didn't just question the world but dismantled the very foundation of human perception. Gurdjieff was one of them. He wasn't just a philosopher or a mystic. He was a man who understood the hidden machinery of human existence. And what he uncovered was something few were ready to accept. Born in the late 19th century, Gurdjieff's early life remains mysterious, filled with travels across Asia and the Middle East, where he sought out secret teachings. He wasn't looking for ordinary knowledge. He was searching for answers that had been deliberately concealed. And he found them in the hidden monasteries of Central Asia, in the cryptic rituals of Sufi mystics, and in the lost wisdom of ancient civilizations. Gurdjieff pieced together something extraordinary, a system that revealed the mechanical nature of human beings. According to him, people are not truly conscious. They move through life like machines, following pre-programmed patterns of thought, emotion, and action. Their reactions are automatic, their desires implanted, their sense of self an illusion. And yet, they believe they are awake. This, Gurdjieff claimed, was the greatest deception of all. But why does this happen? Because the human mind is fragmented. People think one thing, feel another, and act in ways that contradict both. This state of inner conflict prevents real awareness. And without awareness, one remains asleep, trapped in a looped reality where every action is dictated by past conditioning. This idea wasn't just revolutionary. It was dangerous. It threatened the very structure of society, where control is maintained by keeping people unaware of their own conditioning. If the masses suddenly woke up and saw the patterns controlling them, they would no longer be easily influenced, easily manipulated, or easily led. But waking up wasn't easy. Gurdjieff's system wasn't about passive enlightenment or blind faith. It required relentless self-observation and ruthless inner work. He believed that only by seeing one's mechanical nature in action could a person begin to break free. This was the first step toward what he called real consciousness. But if people are truly asleep, what keeps them in this state? What force ensures they never notice the illusion? The answer is even more disturbing. The world itself is designed to keep you unconscious. From birth, you are conditioned, shaped, and programmed to think, feel, and behave in ways that serve the system, not yourself. And that is why his teachings had to be silenced. Because if people began to wake up, the entire structure of reality as we know it would begin to collapse. The question is, are you still asleep? You wake up, check your phone, go through the same routine, and move through your day without questioning why things feel so familiar. But have you ever noticed that life seems to follow a script? One that you never consciously chose? Gurdjieff had a name for this state, waking sleep. It's the illusion of being awake when, in reality, your thoughts, emotions, and actions are running on autopilot. You believe you are making choices, but if you look closely, you'll see that most of what you do is just repetition. The same arguments, the same desires, the same regrets, over and over again. But why does this happen? Because the human mind is conditioned to operate mechanically. Society doesn't teach you how to think. It teaches you what to think. From childhood, your beliefs, fears, and habits are programmed into you. And once that programming is set, It runs in the background for the rest of your life. This is why people struggle to change, why they chase the same toxic relationships, repeat self-destructive habits, and live in the same emotional loops. The illusion of free will keeps them blind to the fact that their decisions are not truly their own. They are patterns embedded so deeply that even when someone tries to break free, they are pulled back in, like a rubber band snapping into place. And here's the most disturbing part. Waking sleep is by design. Everything around you, the education system, the media, even your social environment, reinforces this state. You are fed distractions, fear, and endless stimulation to keep you from ever questioning why you live the way you do. This is why Gurdjieff's teachings were considered so dangerous. He exposed the simple truth. Most people are not living, they are merely existing. Their actions are dictated by past programming, their emotions manipulated by external forces, and their thoughts shaped by a system that profits from their unconsciousness. The first step to escaping this prison: recognizing the illusion. When you start observing yourself, your reactions, your impulses, your habitual thoughts, you begin to see the mechanical nature of your existence. You start catching the moments where your mind is running a script. And once you see the pattern, you have a choice: continue being controlled or break free. But breaking free is not easy. The system is built to keep you asleep. And those who wake up, they are often met with resistance, suppression, even silence. And that brings us to the real reason why Gurdjieff's teachings were buried. His knowledge wasn't just spiritual, it was a direct threat to those who control the narrative. But who exactly wanted him silenced? And why? The answer is more shocking than you think. When a spiritual teacher shares wisdom, they are usually met with curiosity or skepticism. But when their teachings become a threat to the system, they are met with something else: silence, suppression, erasure. Gurdjieff's work was not just a philosophy. It was a blueprint for escaping the invisible prison that keeps people asleep. And this made him dangerous, because if even a fraction of the population truly woke up, if they broke free from the mechanical loops governing their thoughts, emotions, and actions, the entire structure of power would begin to crumble. That's why intelligence agencies took notice. During his lifetime, Gurdjieff's movements were closely watched. His teachings reached powerful intellectuals, scientists, and even political figures, people in positions of influence who began questioning the very nature of reality. His students weren't just seekers. They were individuals who could challenge the established order. But why would a government agency care about a mystic? Because history has shown that true knowledge is the greatest threat to control. The ability to manipulate perception, shape beliefs, and direct human behavior is what keeps entire populations under control. And Gurdjieff's work shattered that illusion. His philosophy taught people how to observe their conditioned responses, recognize the forces controlling them, and, most importantly, resist them. He exposed the invisible chains of propaganda, social engineering, and psychological conditioning long before these terms were even popularized. But the real controversy began when Gurdjieff's work started intersecting with deeper, more secretive fields of knowledge, areas connected to intelligence agencies, classified research, and esoteric sciences that few were meant to understand. Some of his teachings aligned with military psychological operations, techniques used to control mass perception. Others hinted at quantum theories of consciousness, ideas that only decades later would emerge in restricted scientific discussions. He spoke of forces operating behind the scenes, not in the way conspiracy theories describe them, but in a much more subtle, psychological, and deeply embedded way. And then, something strange happened. Documents that referenced Gurdjieff's ideas began disappearing. Certain manuscripts never saw the light of day. Discussions about his teachings within intellectual circles were suddenly discouraged. Even among his students, there were whispers that some of his most profound insights were never published because they were too powerful. Was this just coincidence? Or was his work actively buried to prevent people from discovering what he had uncovered? The reality is this: history has a pattern. Any teaching that grants people the ability to break free from mental conditioning is quickly suppressed. And those who promote it, they either disappear into obscurity or their messages are distorted beyond recognition. But what exactly was so dangerous about his ideas? to understand that you must first understand the greatest deception of all. The false personality, the version of yourself that was carefully constructed to keep you from ever realizing who you truly are. Look in the mirror. The person staring back at you, your name, your beliefs, your identity, feels real. But what if that identity is nothing more than a carefully constructed mask? A role you were conditioned to play, designed to keep you from ever realizing your true self? Gurdjieff called this the false personality, a fabricated version of you, shaped by external influences, that operates in place of your real consciousness. Every thought you have, every reaction, every so-called decision, is filtered through this false self, keeping you trapped in a scripted version of reality. Where does it come from? From the moment you are born, you are shaped by forces beyond your control. Your parents, your culture, your education system, all of them feed you ideas about who you are supposed to be. And over time, you begin to mistake these external influences for your own thoughts. Your personality isn't chosen. It's installed. Think about the way you react to challenges. Do you face them with courage? Or do you shrink back in fear? Think about your desires. Do they come from within, or have they been implanted by social conditioning? Think about your opinions. Are they truly yours, or are they echoes of what you've been told to believe? Most people never ask these questions. They live and die inside a mental framework they never questioned, a framework that was given to them, not chosen by them. And this is exactly why breaking free is so difficult. Because the moment you start questioning your own personality, something unsettling happens. You realize that you are not who you thought you were. But here's the real problem. The false personality isn't just a mask. It's a prison. It locks you into patterns that serve the system, not yourself. It makes you predictable, controllable, easily influenced. And as long as you operate from this false self, you will never truly wake up. Gurdjieff warned that most people defend their false personality without even realizing it. The moment someone challenges their beliefs, their automatic reaction is to defend them. Not because those beliefs are true, but because their entire identity depends on them. And this is how the illusion sustains itself. So, how do you break free? The first step is self-observation, noticing your automatic thoughts, emotions, and behaviors as they happen. But this isn't just about watching yourself. It's about recognizing which parts of you are real and which parts are programmed responses. It's about identifying the scripts running in your mind and asking, is this truly me? Or is this something I've been taught to believe? Because once you begin to separate the false self from the real self, something incredible happens. The illusion starts to crack. The conditioning begins to weaken. And for the first time, you glimpse something beyond the programmed reality you've been living in. But this is only the beginning. To truly escape the illusion, you must take the next step, one that very few people ever take. And that step is self-observation, the hidden key to breaking free from the illusion once and for all. There is a reason most people never wake up. It's not because they lack intelligence. It's not because they don't want to change. It's because they never learn to see themselves. Gurdjieff taught that the first and most critical step to breaking free from the illusion is self-observation, the ability to watch yourself without judgment, without excuses, and without getting lost in the emotions of the moment. This is not simple reflection. It is not thinking about your life or analyzing past experiences. It is something far more radical. It is the process of catching yourself in the act of being mechanical, seeing, in real time, how your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are running on a script. Most people never do this. They react automatically to situations, assuming their responses are natural. But if you start paying attention, you'll see something disturbing. Most of your reactions are predictable, repetitive, and unconscious. A familiar argument? You respond the same way every time. A stressful situation? The same emotions take over. An unexpected challenge? The same excuses, the same fears, the same avoidance patterns. This is not free will. This is programming. And the only way to break free from it is to observe it in action. But here's where it gets difficult. The moment you start watching yourself, you will feel resistance. Your mind will make excuses. You will feel the pull of distraction. Your own ego will try to convince you that there is nothing to observe. This is the trap. Because the system you live in does not want you to wake up. It thrives on your unconscious reactions, profits from your predictability. The moment you stop reacting blindly, you start regaining control over your own mind. So how do you practice self-observation? 1. Catch yourself reacting the next time you feel triggered. Stop. Don't justify your emotions. Don't explain them away. Just watch. 2. Identify the pattern. Notice if this reaction has happened before. Is it the same frustration? The same doubt? The same fear? 3. Ask the key question. Is this reaction truly me? Or is it a conditioned response? If you do this consistently, something incredible happens. You begin to see the illusion for what it is. You notice the invisible forces shaping your behavior. You recognize the programs running in your mind. And once you see them, they lose their power over you. This is why Gurdjieff's teachings were feared. Because once a person starts observing instead of reacting, they become unpredictable. They are no longer controlled by fear, by guilt, by social pressure. They are no longer asleep. And once you wake up, the illusion starts to collapse. But there is something even deeper going on here. Modern science has begun to uncover something shocking. Something that directly connects Gurdjieff's teachings to the very fabric of reality itself. And that is quantum mechanics, the observer effect, and how consciousness itself may be shaping the world around you. The world appears solid, predictable, and governed by fixed laws. But what if this is only an illusion? What if reality itself is shaped by something far more mysterious? Something that science is only beginning to understand. For centuries, mystics like Gurdjieff have taught that human perception is not passive. It actively influences the world. They spoke of reality as something fluid, something shaped by consciousness itself. And for the longest time, these ideas were dismissed as superstition. But then, modern physics uncovered something shocking. The observer effect, one of the most unsettling discoveries in quantum mechanics, proved that the very act of observation changes reality. In experiments, subatomic particles exist in a state of potentiality, existing in multiple places at once, until they are observed. The moment they are measured, they collapse into a single state. In other words, the simple act of watching determines how reality unfolds. This raises a terrifying question. What else is being shaped by your consciousness without you even realizing it? Gurdjieff taught that most people live as unconscious observers. They are passive, unaware that their perception is constantly shaping their experiences. But those who wake up, those who become active observers, gain an ability most people never tap into. They begin to shape their own reality instead of being shaped by it. Think about this. If the observer effect applies to the quantum level, could it also apply to your life? Every thought you hold, every emotion you repeat, every belief you cling to, it all feeds into the structure of your reality. If you live in fear, if you constantly reinforce a state of helplessness, if you allow yourself to be trapped in loops of negativity, then reality reflects that back to you. Not because of luck, not because of fate, but because your own perception is collapsing reality into a version that matches your inner state. This is why Gurdjieff insisted on self-awareness as the key to escaping the illusion. He wasn't just talking about philosophy. He was describing a fundamental mechanism of existence, one that modern science is now proving to be true. And yet, this knowledge is hidden. It is not discussed in schools. It is not encouraged by society. Because if people truly understood how powerful their consciousness is, they would stop being passive. They would stop accepting reality as something fixed and start reshaping it with intention. This is the real secret behind waking up. It's not just about escaping mental conditioning. It's about reclaiming your role as the architect of your own existence. But here's the problem. Even if you recognize this power, you are still trapped by something deeper. Something so ingrained in your daily life that you don't even notice it. Because the system is designed to keep you asleep, not just through thoughts, but through the very patterns of your existence. The loops you repeat every single day without realizing it. And that's what we're about to expose next. Most people believe their lives are a series of choices, that each day is unique, filled with new possibilities. But the truth is far more unsettling. Your life is not evolving, it is looping. From the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, your existence is locked into repetitive patterns. The same routines, the same thoughts, the same emotions cycling endlessly. And just like a program running on autopilot, these loops keep you trapped in an illusion of progress, when in reality you are standing still. Gurdjieff exposed this cycle, warning that most people are not truly alive, they are merely repeating themselves. And the most dangerous part? They don't even realize it. Look at your own life. How often do you wake up at the same time, follow the same routine, check the same notifications, eat the same meals, and react to situations in the same predictable ways? Even your thoughts, the inner dialogue running through your mind, repeat themselves day after day, following a script that was written long before you ever questioned it. These loops are not harmless. They serve a purpose: to keep you asleep. Every time you react in the same way to a stressful situation, you reinforce the pattern. Every time you engage in a familiar distraction, you strengthen the loop. And every time you tell yourself, tomorrow will be different, yet fall into the same habits, you prove just how deeply the cycle has taken hold. But here's the question no one asks. Who created these loops? Because they were not formed by accident. Society, education, media, all of them work to structure your life in a way that keeps you predictable, easily controlled, and most importantly, distracted from ever realizing that you are in a prison. Gurdjieff's teachings weren't just about self-awareness. They were about breaking out of these loops. He taught that to truly wake up, you must do something radical: interrupt the pattern. Try this. The next time you catch yourself going through a routine, stop. Do something completely unexpected. Change the way you respond to a situation. Force your mind to break free from its automatic reactions. Even something as simple as changing your morning routine, switching the order of your tasks, or questioning why you do what you do can begin to shake the foundation of your programming. Because once you interrupt the loop, even for a moment, something extraordinary happens. You create space for real consciousness to emerge. But escaping these loops is only half the battle. Because beyond them lies an even deeper layer of control. One that shapes not just your actions, but your very identity. And to reclaim your true self, you must understand the hidden force that has been shaping your personality from the shadows all along. Archetypes. There is a reason you think the way you do. A reason you react to the world in a specific way, adopt certain behaviors, and feel drawn to particular ideas. But it has nothing to do with free will. Gurdjieff revealed something few ever grasp. Your identity is not truly yours. It was shaped by invisible forces long before you were even aware of it. At the core of these forces are archetypes, universal patterns of thought and behavior that influence every aspect of your personality. They are embedded deep within the subconscious, governing your decisions, emotions, and even the way you see yourself. And here's the unsettling part. If you are not aware of them, they control you. Look at the world around you. Society assigns people roles without them even realizing it. Some live out the martyr archetype, constantly sacrificing their own needs. Others become the servant, endlessly obeying authority without question. Some are trapped in the victim mindset, always believing life is happening to them rather than because of them. And many are caught in the fool archetype, endlessly chasing distractions while their real potential remains buried. But here's the real question. Who chose this role for you? Because the truth is, you didn't. From the moment you were born, your environment, your upbringing, and the systems around you conditioned you to embody a specific archetype, one that keeps you predictable, obedient, and locked into a predefined script. But Gurdjieff taught that those who wake up can do something most never realize is possible. They can choose a new role. Instead of remaining trapped in programmed behaviors, you can step into an archetype that empowers you. You can break free from the false identity imposed on you and construct your own reality. The key is awareness. Start by identifying the role you've been playing. Ask yourself, do I constantly seek validation? Do I play the role of the skeptic, shutting down new ideas before I explore them? Do I repeat the same limiting beliefs, keeping myself small? Do I let fear dictate my choices? Once you see the pattern, you have the power to break it. Because the moment you reject a false identity, a space opens for something new. This is why Gurdjieff's teachings were so dangerous to the system. Because the moment you stop playing the role assigned to you, you become unpredictable. And an unpredictable person is a person who cannot be controlled. But this goes even deeper, because if archetypes shape your personal reality, what happens when they shape the entire universe? What if the very fabric of existence is structured around a cosmic drama, one in which consciousness itself plays a role far greater than we have been led to believe? And that's exactly what we're about to uncover next. Everything you've ever known, your thoughts, your experiences, your entire existence, has unfolded within a framework that few ever question. But what if this framework is not just personal, not just societal, but something far greater? Gurdjieff didn't just speak of waking up on an individual level. He hinted at something much deeper. The idea that reality itself is a stage, and consciousness is the actor playing a role in a vast cosmic drama. Throughout history, countless spiritual traditions have described life as a performance. A scripted play where souls take on different roles, unaware that they are part of something much larger. The Bhagavad Gita, Hermetic teachings, and even ancient mystery schools all spoke of the universe as a living, conscious force, shaping itself through experience. But while many took these as poetic metaphors, modern physics has begun to suggest that these ideas might not just be symbolic. They might be literal. If consciousness is the observer that collapses reality, then what happens when millions of observers collectively focus on the same reality? Does consciousness create the world? Does belief shape what is possible? Is the universe itself responding to the way we perceive it? Gurdjieff suggested that human beings are not just passive spectators of reality. We are participants in a much larger system. And just like on a stage, most people are unaware that they are following a script written for them. Their thoughts, their desires, their struggles. All pre-written roles in a story they never realized they were acting in. But here's the crucial part. Some wake up. Some realize that the script is not fixed, that the role they play can be rewritten. These are the individuals who step outside the illusion, who break the cycles, question the patterns, and begin shaping their own reality instead of being shaped by it. And this is where the greatest deception is exposed. Because if enough people wake up to this truth, the entire system begins to shift. The structure of society, the limits placed on human potential, the very way reality operates. All of it can change once enough minds realize that the game is not what they were told it was. This is why ancient wisdom was hidden. This is why teachings like Gurdjieff's were pushed to the fringes. Because the moment people stop being passive participants in the cosmic play and start actively rewriting their roles, control is lost. The illusion shatters. And something new emerges, something beyond the mechanical loops of existence. But knowing this isn't enough. It's one thing to understand the illusion, it's another to break free from it. And that's where the next step comes in. Practical techniques that can help you wake up from the dream state and reclaim your true role in this vast, unfolding reality. Realizing that you are trapped in an illusion is only the first step. Escaping it requires action. Most people who uncover the truth remain stuck because they don't know how to break free from the patterns controlling them. They wake up for a moment, only to fall back asleep. Gurdjieff didn't just expose the illusion. He provided techniques to wake up permanently. Unlike traditional spiritual practices that focused on blind faith, his approach was designed to systematically dismantle the unconscious mind and restore full awareness. The key? Disrupting automatic behavior. Right now, your mind is running on a script, one written by past experiences, social conditioning, and unconscious habits. Your body reacts before you even think. Your emotions flare up before you realize why. And your thoughts loop endlessly, repeating the same patterns day after day. To break free, you must force consciousness into every aspect of your existence. Here's how. 1. The act of self-interrupting. Gurdjieff taught that one of the fastest ways to break out of unconscious loops is to interrupt yourself in real time. Throughout the day, stop what you're doing, completely at random, and ask, what am I thinking right now? Why am I doing this? Am I acting out of habit or intention? Even a few seconds of this practice disrupts the cycle, forcing your awareness into the present moment. 2. The power of unusual actions. Your brain is wired to follow patterns. When you break those patterns, even in small ways, you force the mind to wake up. Try this. Brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand. Walk a different route than usual. Change the order of your daily tasks. Do something completely unexpected when you feel a strong emotional reaction. The goal is to make your mind question reality rather than accept it blindly. 3. Internal divided attention. Gurdjieff spoke of the power of observing yourself while acting. This means being fully present in both your inner world and outer world at the same time. For example, while talking to someone, also observe your thoughts and emotions in real time. While walking, pay attention to both your steps and your breath simultaneously. While eating, be aware of both the taste of food and the movements of your hands. This technique splits your awareness, preventing you from slipping back into autopilot. 4. Disrupting emotional reactions. Your emotions are one of the strongest forces keeping you asleep. When you react unconsciously, you are being controlled by your programming. The next time you feel anger, sadness, or frustration, stop immediately. Observe the emotion without identifying with it. Ask yourself, who is feeling this? Who is watching? By creating distance between yourself and the emotion, you weaken its grip over you. 5. Reality testing exercises. If reality is shaped by your consciousness, then testing its flexibility is crucial. Throughout the day, question the nature of your environment. Look at an object and ask, how do I know this is real? Notice if there are strange patterns in your surroundings, moments that feel too coincidental. Pay attention to synchronicities, repeating numbers, odd encounters, unexpected insights. The more you question reality, the more cracks start to appear in the illusion. These are not just exercises, they are weapons against the dream state. They force your mind to wake up, breaking the automatic patterns that keep you enslaved. But waking up is not just about the mind. Your body and emotions must also be in balance, or else you'll be pulled back into unconsciousness. And that's exactly what we're about to uncover next. Waking up isn't just about knowledge. Many people uncover hidden truths, break a few unconscious patterns, and even experience moments of clarity. Yet they still fall back into sleep. Why? Because their mind, body, and emotions are not working in harmony. Gurdjieff taught that true awakening is not just an intellectual process. It is a full-body transformation. If even one part of you is out of balance, the other two will drag you back into unconsciousness. Right now, your existence is fragmented. Your mind craves knowledge, but your emotions pull you into distractions. Your body holds deep-seated habits that keep you in cycles, no matter how much your mind wants to change. To break free permanently, all three must be aligned. Here's how to restore that balance. 1. Rewiring the body, breaking the physical trance. Your body is programmed with muscle memory, postures, and physical habits that reinforce your unconscious state. And notice how you sit, how you walk, how you react to stress. Do you tighten your jaw? Hold your breath? Hunch your shoulders? These subtle physical habits keep your mental and emotional patterns locked in place. The fix. Consciously change your posture throughout the day. Sit, stand, and move differently than usual. Introduce deliberate movement. Slow down, breathe deeply, stretch in ways you normally wouldn't. I use body shock techniques, sudden cold exposure, fasting, or even controlled discomfort to shake the body out of its programmed state. The moment the body stops running on automatic patterns, the mind follows. 2. Rewiring the mind, mental detox from the false self. Most people believe they control their thoughts, but if you sit in silence and observe, you'll realize your mind never stops talking. Your thoughts are running you. Gurdjieff warned that people live in a mental fog, where the mind loops in useless worries, distractions, and conditioned responses. The fix. Throughout the day, stop and ask, what was I just thinking? Observe the thought without engaging with it. Don't fight it, don't analyze it, just watch. And notice how thoughts rise and fall on their own, proving that you are not your thoughts. This awareness begins to create mental silence. And in that silence, the real self emerges. 3. Rewiring the emotions, the master key to freedom. Emotions are the most powerful force keeping you asleep. You do not control your emotions control you. One negative feeling can hijack your entire day, pulling you back into unconscious reactions. Gurdjieff taught that the key is not to suppress emotions, but to observe them without identifying with them. The fix: the next time you feel anger, fear, or sadness, stop immediately. Don't react. Don't suppress. Just observe. Ask yourself, who is experiencing this emotion? Who is watching? When you create a distance between yourself and your emotions, you take back control. You stop being a puppet of unconscious reactions. When all three align, the shift begins. When your body, mind, and emotions start working together, something powerful happens. You begin to experience life with a new level of clarity. Your mind no longer loops in distractions. Your body no longer reinforces old patterns. Your emotions no longer control you. This is the beginning of real awakening, not a temporary state, but a permanent shift. But this is where most people stop. They become aware, they break a few cycles, but they don't take it further. Gurdjieff spoke of a final stage, the fourth way, where one learns to live awake in a world of sleeping people. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. You have seen the illusion. You have felt the hidden forces shaping your identity. You have disrupted the unconscious loops keeping you trapped. But now comes the hardest part: staying awake in a world designed to put you back to sleep. Gurdjieff's teachings went beyond mere self-discovery. He didn't just expose the mechanics of the illusion. He provided a path to permanently exit the dream state while still existing within it. This path was known as the fourth way, a method of living consciously, even when surrounded by those who remain asleep. The first three ways, the path of the monk, the yogi, and the fakir, each focused on developing only one aspect of the self, either the body, the emotions, or the intellect. But the fourth way was different. It integrated all three simultaneously while living an ordinary life. This is what made it so dangerous. Unlike other spiritual traditions that isolated practitioners in monasteries or temples, Gurdjieff's path allowed people to awaken within society itself, to see the machinery of control while still interacting with it. But here's the truth. The world resists those who wake up. The moment you step outside of its programming, it will try to pull you back in. People around you will reinforce old behaviors. Society will tempt you with distractions. The system will try to convince you that awakening is a lie and that sleep is comfort. How to live awake in a sleeping world. To remain conscious, you must build an internal structure that cannot be shaken by external forces. 1. Never identify with the dreamers. The world around you is asleep. People react, obey, and follow their programming without questioning it. But the moment you engage with them on their level, you lower your state. When someone tries to provoke you, remain the observer. When the world demands your reaction, choose silence instead. When you feel the pull to return to old habits, pause and redirect. Every moment is a test. The world is designed to keep you inside the illusion. The moment you start thinking like them, feeling like them, or reacting like them, you fall back asleep. 2. Transform energy instead of wasting it. Most people drain their life force on pointless emotions. Anger, frustration, jealousy, regret. They react to everything, leaking their power into distractions. But an awakened person redirects that energy inward. Instead of complaining, observe. Instead of reacting, analyze. Instead of seeking comfort, embrace awareness. When you stop wasting energy on external nonsense, you build an inner force that cannot be shaken. 3. Speak less, observe more. Most conversations are just echoes of the dream state. People talk without thinking, argue without listening, and repeat the same stories endlessly. But the awakened individual does something different. They remain silent unless words serve a purpose. When you speak, make sure your words hold power. When you listen, hear what is not being said. When you interact, remain fully aware of the energy exchange. The less you speak meaningless words, the more you cultivate true perception. 4. Always challenge your own programming. Even after waking up, your old conditioning remains. The patterns drilled into your subconscious for years will try to reclaim control. Every day ask yourself, am I slipping into old habits? Is my mind falling back into unconscious thoughts? Am I making decisions out of awareness or autopilot? Constant questioning keeps the mind sharp and prevents unconsciousness from creeping back in. 5. The ultimate key: never forget you are in a dream. The moment you think you are fully awake, you are in danger of falling back into sleep. The ego loves to believe it has arrived. But true awakening is not an event. It is a constant process. Gurdjieff warned that reality itself is structured to make you forget. Every day, the illusion will try to consume your awareness. The trick is to never let it. Every morning, remind yourself, I must stay awake. Every night, review your day. Did I act with awareness, or did I slip back into the dream? Every moment, hold this thought, I am the observer, not the program. Because the moment you forget, the dream state reclaims you. The choice is yours. The truth has been revealed. The illusion has been exposed. You now hold the knowledge that few ever reach. But knowing is not enough. Awakening is a war, a battle against the forces that seek to keep you unconscious. Most will hear this truth and forget it within hours. They will go back to their routines, their distractions, their cycles. But a few will take action. A few will resist the pull of the dream state. The only question that remains is, will you?